morning. Nice to see you all back here. Rene was saying that this is like telling the other people that this is the second day. No one will come here in the morning because Antti will be here. So thank you that you were not avoiding me. Did you have fun yesterday? Yes. Nice. Who went out to party? Yeah. There were probably more people, but they're not here yet. So that's understandable. Who has met new people here? Let's take a count. That's awesome. Who has not? Okay. Everyone has met new people, or is not telling the truth. Okay. Some things. The most important thing is that the treasure hunt is still on. Yes, I still haven't found my pen. Sorry?
How many vouchers?
2 vouchers, 1 beer. I'll increase the beer amount to 2 beers. So 2 beers, 2 non-alcoholic drink vouchers, valued at 5.9 euros. Yeah. I think someone has it already and they're just waiting. Yeah. I know how this game is played. Do you have my pen? You're walking towards the stage. No, I almost got afraid. Yeah. Thank you. So the treasure hunt is on. Then I have thanks for you. The game yesterday, the gamification thing. Awesome. You did awesome. There's 50% of you who reached the 8 sticker mile, so basically half of you should have sunglasses on now, but don't. But like that's awesome. That's much more than I thought this would do. Today is the big day for the game. Even if you got 8 stickers, you can still continue because if you get 13 stickers, 5 more, 8 plus 5, I'm still like doing the. I don't know what the numbers are, but still, 5 plus 8, 13. Yes, 13 the stickers, thank you. I went to a university for 1 month. True story. I can count to 13 and I like you. So if you get 13, in the end of the day, do you have my pen? Or he's late too, okay. Maybe I should just let the pen go. No. Actually, what's your name? Thier. Yeah. She, when I left yesterday, she came to me and was worried. Did you find your pen? How does it look like? Okay, how is it used? Can you do your job tomorrow? This won't get any better if I find a pen, but thank you. Let's give a round of applause. And you need to send me an audio clip with your name and I'll this. You sent it already?
Yeah, I'm the last speaker.
I've learned it. I have my chance later today to kind of redeem my, yes, he's on board, he's sending hearts. So, I'll try to finish the sentence so we can get the thing going. So, 13 stickers. In the end of the day, there will be a lottery, and my mic will work then. There will be a lottery in the end of the day, and one person. Yeah, you hear me, but it's like. I like cordless mics with cords because these mics have problems. But yeah, that's my thing. In the end of the day, all the people. Time is up. Time is up. There's a lottery in the end of the day. One person will get a free ticket to next year's conference, where the audio team will be replaced. The other option is that you have a different host, but one of these things will happen. Style is important for me, as you can see, and it's important in code. Next talk is about style. Let's welcome to the stage Kelpi, Guido, and Manana.
Standard disclaimer, no gnomes were harmed in the production of this presentation. And as usual, I did promise more gnomes. So, here we go. Robot Framework is not, wait. That was 2 years ago. Better. Robot Framework is. This Robot Framework Style Guide version 1.0. We're planning on releasing it soon-ish. Just waiting on one PR. Guido. My PR, his review. And what we have for presenters today, Guido, Manana, and myself. And brief word, you know who we are, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. So, why style matters? First and foremost, readability. Taking a few quotes from existing and other code conventions, pulling in some of these just perfect quotes of why style matters. Number one, readability. If you can't read your code and you do a lot of reading your code on top of running it, you can spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the heck is written down on the IDE. Consistency. If you choose to have it look a certain way, as a team, decide what it looks like and stick with it, because that's your own personal style. But more importantly, part of the style guide is to give you a starting point saying, hey, do this, and constantly do it the same way throughout your project. Also, a style guide gives you permission to know when to actually veer off the beaten path. There's always going to be that special situation where you're laying out your code and it's just not going to fit all the checkboxes of your style, and that's okay too. Now, as a team, the work group has been meeting once every 2 weeks for like the last 2 years, and when we talk about style, when we come to a subject, we know what we don't want. I mean, you can certainly use sarcasm case for your code, but that's on you. You've been warned. We've had some disagreements, but if you choose to go one way or the other way, always go that way. So like here, if you're going to use equal signs everywhere in your project. If you don't use equal signs, don't use equal signs everywhere in your project. Be consistent. Conversely, some people like spaces in their variables. Other people do not, and like underscores. Both are valid, but the key is to be flexible. What if you're testing something where it makes more sense to actually use the business like keyword or key in like a JSON? Then okay, fine. Use a little bit of camel case. It's okay, but understand why you are making that decision. Now, how do we get here? Cool. So we're going to go on a little bit of a journey back in time to the beginning of Robot Framework. 2008 in June, open source release of Robot Framework 2.0. The only thing that was going on for Robot Framework, as far as style is concerned, was the agreement of either using HTML or tab-separated files. So pretty restrictive file design, and also an amazing user guide, which quite frankly does kind of cross over into style because there's plenty of good examples in it. Moving along, in the same month, Ride was released, and development of IDEs and plugins comes to be very important when enforcing style and formatting your code. But as Robot Framework went along, we started to free up the restrictions. So a text file allows you to be a little bit more messy. Like, you can still have working code, but it gets a little bit messier. But we had a solution for that. 2.7, we released the tidy tool. And yes, you could format it in space, columns, and oh yes, pipes. That was a decision hey, that's a style guide decision. I wouldn't do that today. It was actually kind of cool was because we did still support HTML and TSV, the tidy code tool could export in those file formats. I thought that was kind of neat, but I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Moving along, we started to get a little more complexity in our robot framework code. So in 2.7.8, we had the .robot file extension, so we had dedicated file types. Then we're like, okay, we're going to start organizing in other IDs. So Eclipse got the red plugin. And then I think the first real attempt at a style guide, or a style guide-like thing, was Pekka Clark published in a GitHub, and I'm sure most people here know about this, I hope so, how to write good test code. I think that was a sort of a landmark moment in like, oh yeah, we have the user guide, but we need something else. Moving along, VS Code and the IntelliSense plugin. Thank you, Tomi. You did a good job. Meanwhile, 2018 RoboCon. The keynote for that struck a chord with me because practically everything that was listed in the keynote eventually happened. More tutorial demos, so like we have, I'll get to more of that. Better editor support, native if-else, dropping HTML and TSV files, more RoboCon, hello, we're at number 7, more meetups and local events like the RoboCon meetup in Poland. The only thing that hasn't been done yet is, Pekka mentioned a book, so we're still waiting on the book. Moving along, Robot 3.1 comes out, and we have revamped the new for loop syntax. So we're changing our syntax a little bit, and now we added the mysterious .resource file. RoboCon 2019 came along and went. Not much to say there. But 2020 was the next big landmark for at least VS Code land. The Robot Framework language server was released in beta. I guess it's beta. Wasn't sure about their versioning on that. And it gave a whole new way of supporting like formatting of the code because it was tied in with, I'll get to that. The Robot Framework Cookbook, more examples of style and how to properly put things together. But so far, we haven't had an official style guide up to this point. And look, Robot Framework launched in 2008, and we're already up to 2020, so it's been a while. We kept the IntelliSense running a little bit longer with a fork of it. Thank you, Renee. But this made all the difference. RoboCop 1.0.0. Thank you, RoboCop. Because now you could actually have a style and enforce it syntactically. And something was in the water in 2021 because we had an excellent talk about nasty code. We had a presentation on the language server, and RoboTidy was released in beta. And I think version 1 soon followed. And look, native if-else. So we're starting to make the code a little bit more complex and harder to manage. And then another plugin, Daniel came out with the robot code. Come on, there we go. And then 5 came out, we made it even more complex, and my thought is, we can now mess up our code like a real developer. And then once again, the same stream is rolling along. This is the thing that I found amazing, is like nothing was happening, and then RoboCon was like the magic ingredient of getting talks about clean code 2022. My presentation, the presentation on tidying your code again, and even more evolutions of RoboCop. So there's something in the water now. In that year, our group was formed. That's the mental state. You know, tell your children about it. I was there for all the gnomes. And then even last year, there was an incredible interest for clean code that Guido represented on the stage last year. And finally, as we talked about all these different things, we finally have a guides page, which tells you sort of like, okay, you have the user guide, tells you what to do, great, this is how it's done. Then we released the style guide for comments, and then we said, oh no, we're going to make it more complex, but maybe easier, by adding the new var syntax with Robot Framework 7. And now we're here talking about the version 1.0. Like I said, will be released a little later. More on that. Now we're going to show how it's actually, you can use the style guide in your process with Banana.
So how style guide helps us anyway? Let's see. Let's write a robot framework code which counts number of given words in a Wikipedia article. So where to start? We need to first get that text from the web, right? So we can use browser library for that. And then we open browser, then we create context, then we set test timeout, and clean up. When everything is done, we close browser and close context. Then we have some test tags. But wait, did we put suite setup first? Is it correct? Or should test setup be first? Maybe we should group suite setup and tear down together. So what's the correct order? Let's visit style guide and see what it suggests. Okay? And let's try to group according to its suggestion. So this could be more logical. Now we need to write keywords. But wait, how many empty lines I should put here? 1, 2, 3, 5? That's an option too. Let's see what style guide says. Yeah, it has something about it too. So it says 2 empty lines. Okay, let's add 1 more. We can be generous a bit. Now we can start implementing keywords. So we can set text, set documentation, then setup, then tear down, and retrieve snippet from the article. And finally, return text. But wait again. Is the settings order in the keyword correct? Let's consult style guide again. Okay? And let's adopt what it suggests. Now that we have retrieved text from the web, we need to count words. Let's start writing this keyword. Now we already know the order of the settings inside keyword. So some documentation, tag, arguments. And here we prepare text, but for this we need 2 more libraries, string and collection. Finally, count words. And let's return sorted dictionary so that we have nicely ordered count in descending order. And for this, we can use our custom library, sorted.py, and our keywords are ready. But again, will other people looking at this keyword easily understand what it's doing? Maybe we can do better. Our style guide says that we can make code more readable by adding empty lines and using indentation. So this is what we can do. Hopefully it's more readable. Now that we have keywords done, well, settings section has grown a bit. Maybe we can do something about it too. Yes, we can. We can group according to certain logic. And you can find this logic in the style guide. Remember bulbs in the beginning? When we write the code, we have several options how to write each line. And when we write the code, we make decisions. So style guide helps us make decisions while we are writing code.
So we've now seen a bit of history about the style guide and robot framework in general, and how to be able to use the style guide. And Merel yesterday already mentioned about standing on the shoulders of giants. And what we believe the style guide to be in the end is to let robot framework stand on the shoulders of this community. And for that, we really want to instigate a discussion about what is good style, how do you write the correct code? Because we put a lot of things already in this first version, but that should only be a beginning to have those discussions together and look at, oh, this is what I do, this is what the style guide says, and does it make sense to me? But we also want that feedback back. So today, we really want to kick off that conversation and within the community about good style. And with your help and contributions, we would like to document that discussion and make sure that we put that all together in the style guide, where we then have a way of writing good style, a reasoning why that is a good way to do it, and in the end, so we can all write beautiful style. So we would really like you to join us in between the talks in the bar, maybe tonight, but also on the Slack channel Style Guide and on our GitHub repo to join in that discussion and make sure that our Style Guide in the end will be a very good resource for us all.
Do the next one.
There we go. Yeah, it's there.
Thank you. Any questions for Kelpi there? I was saying, going to say all of the names, but let's go. Let's go. The gnomes.
Hey, hi. Thank you so much for the effort. I'm right here.
Oh.
Hello. So I was wondering, like, about the decision-making process, right? So you now developed the first version of the style guide. It's up on GitHub. I guess at some point you're accepting PRs from outsiders, so everyone can contribute, which I really love. Like I'm pretty sure there will be disagreements in terms of style. Like how are you planning to deal with these sort of things? Like, what's your idea? How should we as a community deal with it? I don't know.
Well, as mentioned yesterday, fight to the death wasn't an option. If it starts a conversation and it's important enough, and there's good reasoning behind why something should be a certain way, and we really haven't heard. So if you hadn't heard anything different, it's just a matter of making sure there's good. So let's say you submit something, say, I would like to do it this way, and it's really off the mark. It's like something inventive new. You better have a good reasoning behind it, and it's not just we're not arbiter. We're not like gatekeepers of the style guide. No, you can't get in. But if it starts a discussion, and at the end, maybe it's a special case, maybe it is something that's more in line with the guides as opposed to the style guide, then maybe it goes into a different place. Maybe we say, maybe it doesn't belong there because it's not generic enough. Because, the idea is that early on that we were never going to cover all code cases. That's just, who has 100%? I don't want to ask that question because someone's going to say yes. But it's just finding a good starting point. Like, that's kind of the way I look at it as a tool. The other thing is, and some people will probably point this out, it's like, well, how does this line up with RoboTidy and all this other thing? It's like, we tried to build it tool agnostic because tools come and go. There might be a day where RoboTidy disappears. I don't want to see that happen anytime soon. So, when you look at the guides, it's talking very clinically about like spacing and stuff for a reason, because it then becomes a source for the next tool or a source for the current tool.
And to add to that, there doesn't have to be just one way of writing the code. So we can include different use cases. If you're more on the business side of things, you probably want a little bit of a different styling than you're more talking to just the developers because they like underscores and business doesn't. So there might be different reasonings and different use cases for using different styles. So if you have like, okay, this is my use case and this is why I want it like this, we can definitely fit it in the style guide. We figured out the little tabbed way of.
Yeah, we found a magic way of representing that.
So that might become a thing in the style guide that you can just say, okay, I'm on the business side of things, and then you get all your styling in the business side of things.
Actually, this is exactly what we want, to have discussions and someone agrees and someone disagrees, not just three of us setting some rules for entire robot framework community. And it's totally okay to decide something else than what's written in style guide, as long as the usage is consistent. And all discussions are welcome, and that's why we are here and speaking in front of community.
It sounds like you want to join our group.
Welcome.
And I think it's just a guide, so you don't have to follow it.
Oh, you can completely throw it out the window.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the heck you want. It's fine.
All right. Any more questions? There. And next is you.
And GNOME ownership is not required to join.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. One question is that, do you know where RoboTidy and RoboCop has previously based their style rules on? And do you hope or plan that both RoboTidy and RoboCop would in the future be by default based on your now more official style guide?
Well, yesterday I actually spoke to Mateusz about this, but we have been in contact with them all the time. And Mateusz told me that a lot of the rules that they currently have as default are based on different standards from other languages. So there is a thought into the defaults that they have. And we have been looking also to their tools to see, hey, does this make sense for us? Yes, it makes sense. And we styled a lot of things in the style guide towards what made sense. And that I don't think we have found any of the things that we styled that are not being done in RoboTidy or RoboCop. So it does match up. And Mateusz and Bart also said that if things are getting in a little bit of a more version 1-ish state, they don't mind changing the default values to the things that we mention in the style guide. So the combination there is definitely a case.
Let's take the last question from Eftia. But Eftia. I tried. We have time for one more question if there's one. Short one? No? Okay. Kelpi, please tell the story what happened at the airport with the gnomes.
Oh gosh. Do I really have to? Okay. Short version.
Yeah.
So I bought a gnome. So these gnomes have little weights on the bottom of them. And I bought one while on travels in the United States. And I was going through security. And I was flagged in security because of my gnome. They were investigating it for a solid 10 to 15 minutes. And I thought for sure they're going to take out a pair of scissors and rip apart the gnome. I know, it's tragedy. I'm like, come on, gnomes are safe on planes. Trust me on this one. So, true story.
Yeah.
So Kelpi is suspected of gnome trafficking.
Hey, give a big hand to Kelpi, Manana, and Guido. Thank you.
Thank you.